Retribution Paladin might be one of the simplest specs in the game, but that doesn't mean you're playing it right. In this video we'll cover rotation, cooldowns, and the Templar build that's currently dominating Mythic+. No shaming, no gatekeeping, just a clean guide that'll have you understanding how to play Retribution Paladin. Retribution Paladin, aka Ret Pally, is one of the most popular DPS specs in World of Warcraft. And it's easy to see why. It's a melee spec with a simple rotation, massive burst cooldowns, strong group support, and built-in healing and defensives. The core of your gameplay revolves around Holy Power, a resource you can hold up to 5 of at a time. You generate it by using abilities like Blade of Justice, Judgment, and Wake of Ashes, and then spend it on powerful finishers. Most of your spenders cost 3 Holy Power, like Final Verdict for single target, or Divine Storm for AoE. Coming up next, we'll break down which hero talent tree you should pick and why. Ret Pallies get 2 hero talent trees, Templar and Herald of the Sun. If you're running Mythic Plus in patch 11.1, there's no real competition here, you're going Templar. Let's break it down. Templar gives you access to Hammer of Light, a massive 5-cost spender that'll use during your burst windows. When cast, it slams your target and nearby enemies, heal allies, and rains down Empyrean hammers. Passive holy explosions that trigger automatically while you play. Each one gives you a stack of Light's Deliverance, your capstone hero talent. When you hit 60 stacks, you get to cast Hammer of Light again, for free. Basically, if you're playing well, rotating between builders and spenders, keeping Divine Hammer rolling, you're constantly triggering Empyrean hammers, which in turn fuel Light's Deliverance, giving you even more Hammer of Light casts. It rewards good fundamentals without adding complexity. As opposed to Herald of the Sun, this tree focuses on damage over time effects, especially a spell called Dawnlight, which beams out radiant damage over time. It's mostly passive, which sounds appealing, but the damage just doesn't hold up. You'll see people try it for the theme or aesthetics, and that's fine, but in terms of raw throughput, Herald falls way behind Templar in every kind of content right now. So which one should you pick? Templar every time. It's stronger, smoother, and fits perfectly into how Retribution is already played. Templar is the clear winner in both raids and Mythic+. Up next, we'll break down the actual rotation and priority system so you know what to press and when. Retribution Paladin doesn't follow a strict rotation. You're working off a priority system. That means your decision depends on how much holy power you've built, what buffs or procs are active, and what cooldowns are coming up. Let's break down the single target priority into logical flow. First one is the top priority, Divine Hammer at 5 holy power. Your strongest button when active. It starts a buff that gets extended every time you spend holy power, so you want to cast this first and then keep it going as much as you possibly can. It's a huge part of your sustained damage and synergizes with multiple talents. The next priority is Execution Sentence. Use it during your cooldown windows. It's a delayed ability that you want to stack other big hits into. If you're running Radiant Glory, which automatically triggers Avenging Wrath when you spend Holy Power or cast Wake of Ashes, you'll want to align this with Wake of Ashes for maximum burst. The next priority is Hammer of Light. If it's available, this hits hard, and it's a unique spender that either costs 5 Holy Power after casting Wake of Ashes, or becomes free after reaching 60 stacks of Light's Deliverance. Try to pair it with Execution Sentence or use it as soon as it's up. The next priority is Divine Storm, and you only want to use it if Empyrean Power procs. Empyrean Power gives you a free buffed Divine Storm, which is worth using even on single target. The next priority is Final Verdict at 5 holy power. Your basic spender for single target damage when none of the previously mentioned are available. It hits hard, nothing fancy, but it's your bread and butter. The next priority is Blade of Justice if it will apply Expurgation. This generates 2 holy power and applies a damage over time effect if talented into Expurgation, which is a strong passive damage source. The next priority is Wake of Ashes. It generates 3 holy power and applies a small cleave. Use it before your big spenders during cooldown windows. The next priority is Divine Toll if you have 3 or less holy power. Divine Toll casts multiple judgments, and with the Boundless Judgment talent, it generates 2 holy power per target hit, up to 5. But don't overthink it. Divine Toll is just a cooldown, and single target use it before your cooldown window. The next priority is Final Verdict again. If you're at 3 or 4 Holy Power, spend it before you hit 5 to avoid overcapping. And then the next priorities are just basic fillers. You can use Judgment if you're not already capped on Holy Power. It applies a debuff that increases your Holy Power spender's damage, so use it to prep before a spender or just keep the debuff rolling. You can use Blade of Justice again if you're low on Holy Power. You can cast this often, it's a core generator, so just make sure you're not overcapping. And then the last priority is Hammer of Wrath with 4 Holy Power or less. You can also cast it with 3 Holy Power, or if the target is under 20%, or during Wings. It can be cast during Execute or with Avenging Wrath. It generates Holy Power and hits decently hard. Use it as a filler when it's available. Ideally, you want to alternate between generators and spenders every other global cooldown. This keeps your Holy Power flowing, avoids capping, and most importantly, it keeps Divine Hammer ticking, which buffs your overall damage big time. Now we'll move to the AoE priority. The good news, if you already learned the single target priority, you're 90% of the way there. The AoE rotation for Ret is almost identical to single target. Same Holy Power system, same cooldown windows, but with just a few key swaps that make a big difference when fighting multiple enemies. Let's walk through what changes in AoE. Divine Storm instead of Final Verdict. When you have 2 or more targets, you'll stop using Final Verdict and start spending your Holy Power on Divine Storm instead. Empyrean Power still procs Divine Storm for free, and that's even better in AoE. Never sit on this proc. You'll still want to spend it 5 Holy Power to maximize Divine Hammer uptime. And here is the priority list for AoE. First one is Divine Hammer at 5 Holy Power. Start early and keep it going. Then Execute Sentence, same logic. Hammer of Light, strong AoE Holy Power spender, Divine Storm at 5 Holy Power, Wake of Ashes, it's a big generator and it does cleave, Divine Toll if you have 1 or less Holy Power, then Divine Storm at 3 or 4 Holy Power if you're close to capping, Judgment to keep the debuff up even in AoE, Blade of Justice as a generator, especially for Empyrean Power procs, and then Hammer of Wrath, use it during Wings or on low health mobs. The same rhythm applies, just swap Final Verdict for Divine Storm, and you are still alternating between build and spend. As long as you're not pressing 3 spenders in a row and burning out your Holy Power, you'll maintain Divine Hammer and keep your Empyrean procs rolling. Retribution Paladin might be one of the most popular specs in the game, and yeah, some people say it's too simple to need a guide, but honestly, that simplicity is what makes it feel so good to play. The real skill isn't in memorizing a cast sequence, it's in keeping the flow smooth. Don't cap on Holy Power, don't sit on spenders, and keep Divine Hammer rolling. That's it, that's the core rhythm. Once you lock into it, Ret feels incredibly satisfying. And hey, if this guide helped you out, consider dropping a like, subscribe for more beginner-friendly class breakdowns, and if you got any more questions, hit the comments and I'll try to help you out. As always, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.